everyone will lose if Russia invades Ukraine. This is what President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, believes in. In an interview with the US outlet The Washington Post, he stated, Russia may use the motive of protection of the Russian-speaking population as a pretext. Meanwhile, negotiations in Geneva concluded the day before Secretary Blinken stated he didn't expect a breakthrough. According to him, this was a frank exchange of views and concerns rather than negotiations.
Our objective was to determine whether Russia is prepared to take the diplomatic path and other necessary steps to de-escalate the situation in Ukraine and ultimately to resolve our differences through diplomacy and through dialogue.
According to him, the United States made it clear to Russia that any crossing the Ukrainian border would be regarded as a new invasion, and the right of Ukraine to independently choose allies is not discussed.
I made clear to Minister Lavrov that there are certain issues and fundamental principles that the United States and our partners and allies are committed to defend. That includes those that would impede the sovereign right of the Ukrainian people to write their own future. There is no trade space there. None.
Moscow continues to demand written guarantees from NATO that Ukraine and other former Soviet republics will never become members of the alliance. The United States refused to discuss this topic but promised to provide Russia with a written commentary on some of the Kremlin's concerns. As I already mentioned, was interested on how America is going to fulfill its obligation, which within the framework of the OSCE, along with the right to choose alliances, was approved at the highest level, a commitment not to enhance anyone's security by limiting the security of others. He promised to explain how the United States regards the fulfillment of this obligation. At the same time, Russia continues to speculate on the topic of Donbass and the Minsk agreements. Allegedly, the signatures on the document in Minsk delayed the decision on the independence of the territories of Donbass temporarily not controlled by Ukraine. And although Lavrov voiced that Russia was not going to attack Ukraine, he hinted at the possibility of provocations in the Donbass. We do not rule out that all this hysteria that our Western colleagues are now spinning is aimed at, if not provoking military actions by Ukraine in the Donbass, then at least to cover the line of the Kiev regime for the complete sabotage of the Minsk agreements. Last week, a number of meetings were held between representatives of Russia, NATO and the United States. As a result, Lavrov said that the negotiations had reached an impasse. And now it is clear that the key differences could not be overcome. However, diplomacy continues. Secretary of State Blinken and Minister Lavrov could talk frankly. Diplomacy continues. The US just wants Russia to choose the path of diplomacy. And now the diplomacy continues. Now we should look at the actions of Russia. Words are one thing, actions are quite another. A written response from the allies will be sent to Moscow in a week. Meanwhile, new columns with Russian military equipment continue to be spotted daily near the Ukrainian border. Reported by Nick Starkov for UATV News.